Hi everyone, my name is Samari Sobzai.
Hi, I'm Lily Goldman, and we are the Gundo Groundbreakers.
This video is the second part of our amazing interview with the recent Segundo grad, Gabby Desch-Obi. Please check out the first part if you haven't already. It's on YouTube, it's on our Instagram page. Show it some love.
Also, thank you guys so much for the support for the series. Make sure to please like this video and share it with your friends and family, just to spread the voices of these fantastic guests that we've had on the show.
With that, enjoy the second part of our interview with Gabby Desch-Obi.
As you've been in El Segundo, we were curious what your relationship has been with the El Segundo Police Department.
It's been a love-hate relationship. Overall, I think I've formed specific bonds with certain police officers, but obviously as work goes, people come in and out. And unfortunately, especially with a lot of officers I don't know, because I can only know so many, I'll be walking around town or going into a store and they'll be following me around, kind of glaring at me as I cross campus like if they're on campus and I'm crossing the campus to get to another class, like in the middle of the class to send some message, they'll kind of follow me around, glare at me, give me dirty looks, and I just don't understand it because, I mean, I've done obviously nothing wrong. I'm just going about my day-to-day, and what I find funny is that it's never when I'm with any of my other white friends, but if I'm with another person of color, they'll continue to do that same sort of stalking and kind of veering out to see if I'm going to cause any trouble. Even though I'm a child, I'm going to El Segundo School District, I've done nothing to make them think that. And it kind of puts like a fence and, in like the relationship with the community, because obviously these people are the ones that are supposed to be, protecting the community, and they feel as though I am a threat to it, even though I'm supposed to be a part of it, and they should kind of, be like helping me out and helping everyone out to like feel more comfortable and safe. But instead I feel unsafe because of them, because I never know what they're going to do. In fact, once I was going to my dance studio, because I have to walk there, and it's in Manhattan Beach, and I was crossing in front of the Chevron on PCH. And before I had gotten there at the McDonald's corner, one of the police officers pulled up on me and started just questioning me. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you walking alone? What are you like? What are you up to? Why are you wearing a hoodie?" And obviously it was the middle of winter, and I'm just trying to go to my dance class, so it's late at night. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get to dance.
Segundo police or?
Yes.
Oh, go on.
Because it was before I crossed into Manhattan Beach, so it was the El Segundo PD.
That's sick. I don't know that at all. I've never had to experience anything like that. And the fact that that's something you or your friends experience on a daily, the fact that you feel unsafe in this community by the people who are supposed to protect us, it's kind of ridiculous. How do you feel about there being police on the campus?
I understand why parents and faculty want the police on campus, especially because I obviously know like drug spikes and things such as that. But at the end of the day, what they just do is over police the minority students. And I feel as though it's not really making a strong positive effect on the campus, because what's just happening is there's a bunch of brown and black students that are just getting kind of questioned and glared at and feeling uncomfortable on their campus because of the way the police are treating them. And at the end of the day, I feel as though with our security guards, Romo, and our other security guard, I feel so bad I don't remember her name, they can do the job of the police themselves. And the police don't really need to be there, because I feel as though what happens is then minorities are being called to the office, and what always happens is that they get a harder suspension than most of the time their white counterparts would. Well, they would get like a tap on the wrist and maybe their vape would be taken away. The brown and black students are more likely to be on permit, first of all, and they'd get kicked out of the district, or they'd face a lot harsher consequences than their white counterparts.
Yeah. So do you ever find yourself, I see things online where these black boys and girls are saying, my mom is so scared for my life that she tells me I can't wear or do certain things when I'm outside, just in case someone sees me as a threat. Is that something you or your family has had to face living or going to school in El Segundo?
Yes. But my mom, it was before actually I went to El Segundo from a very, very young age, around the age of 4. My mom I'd put on an outfit and she's like, that looks a little too ghetto. I was never been allowed to wear sweatpants out, even when I was 5 years old. I'd always have to dress kind of like proper and utmost. And it wasn't even just because of feeling unsafe. She was like, you never want anyone to look down on you because of your race. And then on top of that, how you're dressing. She was like, you can't just, like when I went to the high school, I wasn't allowed to wear just a t-shirt and pants until a couple of years later. And she was like, you've made a name for yourself, because she thought the teachers would probably look down on me. You're like a hood kid. And so I've always had to kind of go above and beyond to more make a name for myself before I could get comfortable, just so I didn't appear as a threat to anyone, or I didn't appear as lesser than for anyone.
Do you think because that this is being taught to young Black and brown, I'm sorry, this is a bit shy. Do you think because this mentality is being taught to young Black and brown kids, it's almost making you guys grow up a little faster, mature a little faster than your white counterparts or your other races counterparts?
That is actually, that's a definite, it's actually a very big thing in the Black and brown community, especially with their women, because as African American or Hispanic or any minority woman, we're kind of hypersexualized from an incredibly young age. And so we're never allowed to kind of like go out wearing certain clothes, because they're always going to be like, why do they look so grown? Like, as an African American woman, I could be wearing the same exact outfit as one of my white friends, and I would get comments as to why I look so like adulty and so grown for my age. And it definitely causes us to grow up at a very young age, because we have to be hyper aware of the reality of the world. There was no like censorship for me growing up, because my mom's like, well, you need to see Criminal Minds and see what's going to happen, because this is what's probably going to happen to you on multiple occasions. Like, there was no I get to be a child. It was more learning how to live in a world that was not designed for me from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it feels like there's no winning there. Like, you still have to like dress up nice for classes every day so you don't get seen as like ghetto, and then you can't dress too nice because you'll get hypersexualized. It's like, it feels like there's no winning, and it just, I feel so, I can't believe that.
So it's almost like hearing your story. It's kind of like, from such a young age, what do you do? Like, where do we go from here? You know what I mean? It's been taught forever, and it's like, how are you gonna? I think the biggest thing that we need to change in the community is we need to stop people, especially the police department, from saying Black and brown equals threat.
In fact, even the kids sometimes, I mean, I've been in cases where I'll be like with a couple of my white friends, and all of a sudden I'm wearing some sneakers for the first time in ever, and they're like, oh, so now you're gonna act like the hood kids? And like, they'll point to the group of African Americans, and I'm like, okay, we're not friends anymore, joke's on you, like, we're not gonna, that's not how you treat people. And it's like, the second I kind of back down from the standard that I have to hold myself to every day, all of a sudden I get 10 times more racial and even just sexual comments. And it's kind of horrible, because then I'll be talking to students as well. And one student, in an argument to a post I had posted, was commenting that in defense of police being more violent with African Americans, Black people, just Black people, are 4.7 times more likely to steal. Where is that statistic coming from?
Yeah, because if we're talking about stats, I want to say that there are 4.55 more white people in this country, and due to that statistic, so many Black people shouldn't be dying. Black people are dying at a rate 3 times higher than white people at the hands of the police. Where's that statistic? Wow. Anyway, that's crazy.
And even if you were gonna pull that statistic, I just feel as though people don't look past the bare surface besides like what they want to argue. Because even if he got that statistic from somewhere, you would have to look at the communities and the fact that African American and brown communities are typically more poor and impoverished. And when people are trying to live day to day, sure, you might steal an apple so that you can like live towards the next day. And obviously that's horrible. But like, I was almost homeless growing up because there was like a lot of stuff going on with that. But I mean, when you're wondering where your next meal might come from, the morality of taking a piece of bread isn't as vital. So you have to take in also economic things and social things into account, I feel like, with that. And they kind of just brush it off. They just see, oh, this, they just take the numbers and don't kind of interpret them in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and then if these El Segundo kids, they want to talk about like, oh, Black people being ghetto or whatever, they're the ones who are appropriating your culture, your hairstyles, your language, your slang, your mannerisms, and they're gonna talk about. Anyways, sorry. Hearing that is so ridiculous. Like, they're gonna call you ghetto or you whatever, and they think they have the audacity to steal what you guys have been doing. And also adding on to the fact that more people of color are, live in poor socioeconomic statuses. It's because of like 400 years of oppression in this country. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not on the same level, so it's unfair. The standard that you've been putting yourself at to get on the same level as anyone else, that's not fair, and it shouldn't be happening today, and so they want to say all these different stats, and they don't want to clearly understand stats are not enough. You need to have a heart. You need to sorry, wow, it really made me upset. So I'm in ASB this year and last year, and this year I'm the treasurer or secretary of my class or whatever. And I think everyone in that class can unanimously agree that our job is to make everyone feel included, And so I think we had a meeting with BSU, our organization at BSU, and they said that ASB, we need to do a better job of encouraging diversity and culture through our activities and events. What are your thoughts? How do we do that?
I feel like the best way to go about that is really reaching out to the minority groups at our school, because I feel like a lot of times they just feel unheard, and with the lack of representation and just kind of how they're generally greeted when they try to bring up social issues such as that, or even teaching others about their culture, they're kind of shut down. So it's hard for them to want to reach out or just reach out at all and create the conversation. So I feel like it would be very beneficial if ASB kind of went to those groups, or even without like just going to like BSU, Hispanic Student Union, just people that they know, friends that they know that are these minority groups, and asking them specifically what they can do. But I think it would start also with just having programs dedicated to kind of embracing these cultures, these different cultures and different minority groups, and kind of educating in whatever way, shape, or form they can the student body on what they still face today.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it's something that we definitely want to do. It's not, I don't think any of us feel that, let's ignore this. You know what I mean? It's something we want to do, but it's like the lack of conversation and communication within these different groups, like that's what gets us, that's what gets us in trouble. But
I almost feel as though, especially with ASB, like obviously a lot of these subjects are a little touchy, and so they're kind of scared to have the conversation. But I mean, at least personally and with BSU, we'd love for you guys to kind of start the conversation, but start it going, because if we work on these sort of things together, then no one's going to get offended. We can like easily come up with a clear way of how to approach this without having anything offensive or any backlash.
Yeah, totally. And I think it was Kalani who was saying, I believe she was last year's Commissioner for Culture and Diversity. And she was just saying that she also didn't know, like it should be starting with us, because that's like our job to make everyone feel included, right? And I think she was saying like she didn't know how to get everyone like connected too, you know what I mean? So it's a group effort and it's a team effort, and it should start with us. And I think that's what we're trying to do, like starting yesterday, you know what I mean? And I think this following school year, I'm sad you won't be there, but I think you're going to see a lot of change and a lot of efforts for inclusivity towards everyone. And yeah, I think that's my, what's the saying, 2 cents, 3 cents?
I look forward to it. Yeah. I think it's going to be really beautiful, especially with you on the committee. I know you're a strong, leading, intelligent force. So
are you. So are you, Lily.
Thank you.
Look at us. Strong, intelligent, leading force of women. Look at us.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and with that, thank you so much for joining us and speaking. I loved everything you had to say, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Of course, it's kind of like our obligation at this point, right?
Thank you for watching the second episode of Gundo Groundbreakers.
See you next week.